Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News for Tuesday, February 3. I'm Carrie Simpson. A special welcome to our viewers on YouTube, TVJ International in the Cayman Islands, and online at onespotmedia.com. Here's what we have in the bulletin.
Jamaicans urged to brace for another cold front. JTA reiterates call to have deans of discipline in all schools. And later in sports, under-17 Reggae girls qualify for the final round of CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers.
Now the details. Jamaicans are being warned to brace for cooler than normal temperatures as the week progresses. According to the Met Service, a trough moving across the Western Caribbean is expected to move across the island late Tuesday night and linger through Thursday. This will result in cloudy conditions with periods of showers and thunderstorms, which may be heavy at times over sections of most parishes, especially northern parishes, from early Wednesday through Thursday. Additionally, another cold front is expected to begin affecting the island on Friday. Duty forecaster at the Met Service, Javad Hudson, explained that it won't be as severe as the current one affecting the country.
But we're still expecting another round of cooler than normal temperatures and strong winds. So that should start on Friday.
And do these cold fronts have anything to do with the record winter storm taking place in the state?
Oh, yes. So it's like you have all that cold air across North America being pushed southwards. So because it's record breaking, so like some of these cold fronts are pushing a bit further than usual and are also stronger than usual.
And the Jamaica Public Service, JPS, is reporting that strong winds associated with the cold front have caused power outages in some parishes, including sections of Hanover, St. Anne, the corporate area, St. Catherine and Clarendon. The JPS says it is making every effort to facilitate swift restoration for the affected customers as crews have been working late into Monday night to restore power. Now, members of the public are also being urged to exercise caution, especially around broken wires, and to report outages and hazards. In the meantime, school administrators island-wide have been relaxing the dress code to allow for warmer garments as students and staff try to remain warm. At the Arakabresa Primary in St. Mary, Principal Gregory Davis says the weather has not affected student attendance.
Almost all the students were out. They were a bit cold, yes, but everybody came out. I mean, they are excited about the climate, and we have spoken about climate changes around us. So it hasn't affected, long and short, it has not affected the attendance.
He described the current condition as a blessing in disguise.
The class climate is better, you understand me? So you can learn in greater comfort rather than discomfort of having the heat. Because when it is cold, you can prepare for that. But when it is hot, very little preparation can you do.
Global warming and increasingly unpredictable weather patterns have forced animals to adapt to changing environments. Recently in Florida, unusually cold temperatures caused iguanas, which are cold-blooded, to become paralyzed, a reminder of how sudden weather shifts can affect wildlife. Now, Director of Veterinary Services, Dr. Sophia Ramlal, says while Jamaica is accustomed to warm conditions, animals can still be vulnerable to extreme weather changes.
For stray animals, those of us who can also offer some shelter and some warmth to them, it is very important because, again, they are outside and the extreme of temperatures can also impact them. Common things we will see are things like the sniffles, just like humans, where we get a cold, we get respiratory infections. There can be shivering, there can be shuddering. Thankfully, this cold front has not come with a lot of rain.
To other news now, Clerk of the Houses of Parliament Colleen Lowe says the over $28 million transaction from a government credit card was an error on the part of the financial institution. She was responding to questions from the Public Accounts Committee, which has been examining the Auditor General's report into allegations of misuse and mismanagement of the credit card.
We had submitted a letter to the bank for payments on the credit card, and then the bank actually made that processing error in withdrawing more than what was stated in the cover letter to them.
Okay, you are saying 181,000 Jamaican, but what was done was 29 million?
They converted it to US dollars, it appears.
So they
Jamaican.
took the Jamaican equivalent, assumed it was US.
It appears to be, that is what transpired.
Hold on. Let me read this. The Houses of Parliament is hereby requesting that the recurrent expenditure account be debited with the Jamaican equivalent. All right. Well, I see why they're confused. Because you said with the Jamaican equivalent, so they would assume the 181 is US. I think this should have been written with more clear. It should have been clearer. And okay, I understand why the error was made, but it still don't explain why it takes so long to pick up the error, because that's a lot of money.
To a developing story. The security forces are currently at a crime scene in Norwood, St. James. TVJ News has learned that the bodies of 2 men were discovered. The area is now cordoned off as investigators comb the surroundings. Now we'll have further details in subsequent newscasts. A 67-year-old man is dead after the vehicle he was traveling in crashed along the Rosewell Main Road in Clarendon yesterday. According to reports, the deceased, Ralston Pinnock of a Sandy Bay address, was driving toward Rosewell when he lost control of his gray Toyota Belter motor car and crashed into a concrete light pole. Now he was removed from the mangled vehicle by firefighters and taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Family members told TVJ News that the deceased had complained earlier of feeling unwell, and it's possible that he blocked out while driving because he was diabetic. And a man was injured after a crash along Linders Road in St. Andrew earlier this morning. According to an eyewitness, the driver of a Toyota bus ran a red light and collided with a truck.
The van is injured based on what I was seeing, because I was there holding his shirt on top of his head. There was a wound on top of his head.
Now, the driver of the bus was rushed to hospital for treatment. No passengers were on board at the time of the crash. The Jamaica Teachers Association has renewed its call for every school to have a dean of discipline. The proposal comes against the backdrop of a recent court ruling which found a teacher negligent for failing to intervene in a student dispute that turned violent. Details in this report.
Major implications for educators and the Ministry of Education. That assertion from President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Mark Malava, over the recent Supreme Court ruling, which found a teacher negligent for failing to intervene in a student dispute that turned violent.
Our teachers are not equipped to be referees, and there has been a proliferation of significant maladaptive behavior in our schools. And the necessary mechanisms are not there to respond to it. So I think this ruling really is clear. I think there are some systemic gaps within our system, and as a sector, we need to respond to those gaps.
JTA President Mark Malava said the post of guidance counselors and deans of discipline arose from the realities on the ground over time and the need to respond.
A dean of discipline is charged with the responsibility of putting in place initiatives and programs to treat with patterns of disruptive and maladaptive behavior in the school. They are to work closely with guidance counselors and the school's administration to cauterize anything that undermines governance, that undermines teaching and learning and the safety of the space.
He adds that the proposal to have deans of discipline in all schools was proposed some 10 years ago and is even more relevant today.
Anecdotally speaking, it does help significantly. Some years ago, I know that there was a proposal for deans of discipline to be designated district constables. So that's the extent to which we have reached in many of our schools.
Because you think that's necessary based on what you're saying?
Yeah, it's something that we may have to look at because of what is happening in our schools.
He is also reiterating the need for an improvement in the student to dean of discipline ratio in schools.
I know of schools that have been clamoring for deans of disciplines for their school. So let's start there and let's get to the ratio that we want so that our deans of discipline can respond effectively to whatever concerns that there are within the institution. There are deans of disciplines that are working outside of hours, for example, because they are working on shift schools. We are saying in those circumstances, provide one per shift.
Anthony Atkinson, TVJ News.
In the meantime, Mr. Malava says the JTA is happy to be returning to the negotiating table with the Ministry of Finance.
The issues are not lost on me. The realities of our teachers is clear. For us, it is a matter of social justice. Yeah, our teachers are amongst the lowest paid in the Caribbean. And yet, when you look at the data in terms of our teachers' performance for the appraisals, they are doing remarkably well. Yeah. Our teachers are amongst the best in the Caribbean. But why is it that we should be amongst the lowest paid? It is a matter of social justice for us.
Time for a break, but stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. It is now time for the Business Minute.
Fiscal Commissioner Courtney Williams says the severe impact of Hurricane Melissa on the tourism sector is the main reason for the projected $80.5 billion shortfall in government revenues this fiscal year. Mr. Williams noted that nearly 90% of Jamaica's tourism infrastructure is located in areas hit hardest by the hurricane. He adds that tourism remains the country's leading foreign exchange earner and a major contributor to tax revenues. Further afield, SpaceX has acquired the artificial intelligence company xAI, merging two of Elon Musk's most ambitious ventures. In a memo to employees, Mr. Musk cited the need to build data centers in space as a main driver for the deal. He said current advances in AI require immense power and cooling, and that moving those operations into orbit is the only logical solution. SpaceX is already seeking FCC permission to launch a constellation of 1 million satellites into orbit. That effort aims to provide a solar-powered network to meet explosive data demands. The SpaceX deal with xAI creates the most valuable private company in the world. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Prince Moore.
Thank you, Prince Moore. Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, a U.S. federal judge has blocked the Trump administration's attempt to end temporary protected status (TPS) for more than 350,000 Haitians living in the United States. The court ruled that the Department of Homeland Security lacked the authority to terminate the program and ordered that TPS remain in place while the case proceeds. Immigration advocates have welcomed the decision, while the administration says it will appeal. And on the international scene, the Paris prosecutor's office says it has raided the French headquarters of social media platform X. The move comes as authorities widen their investigation into alleged algorithm abuse, now including X's AI chatbot Grok. The expanded probe follows claims that Grok generated sexualized deepfake content. Prosecutors say ex-chairman Elon Musk is among those summoned to hearings in April. X maintains it removes illegal content from its platform. However, a source familiar with the matter has questioned Musk's commitment to strict safety guardrails for Grok. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Aliyah Bryant.
Thank you, Alia. We now head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report.